Stop clinging so you can start living. That was the message that I heard this morning at my church, and I wanted to share it with you because it was such a powerful message. It's taken from Matthew 16:24. And Jesus has just talked to his disciples and asked them, "Who do you say I am?" And his disciples said, "Well, some say you're Moses, some say you're Elijah." And Peter, under the revelation of the Holy Spirit, says, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And in that confession, it was the precipice for this conversation that Jesus then has next with his disciples. Because if we truly believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of the living God, our response should be that we want to follow and obey him. And so what does that look like? Jesus says to his disciples, "If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up on your own way, take up your cross, and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it." Jesus is saying, this is the paradox of the kingdom values. It's completely different from what the world tells us. The world tells us if we want to have everything that we want in life, we have to cling to it. We have to hold tight to it. We have to control it. And we have to take claim to it. We have to own our own lives, right? It's my life. It's my house. It's my job. It's my dreams. It's my way. It's my happiness. It's all the things that we long to, or told by the world to take hold of. That's what will really bring you joy, right? But Jesus says no. It's not yours anyway. The reality is that God owns everything. Psalm 24 says God owns everything. Everything that has life, that breathes, it belongs to God. And so we don't want to think that way because it means we have to surrender. But friend, let me tell you, this was the message that my pastor shared. There is relief in the surrender. There is peace in the surrender. When we understand that we don't own anything, that nothing, our money isn't ours, our car isn't ours, our house isn't ours, our job isn't ours, our dreams aren't ours, our plans for the future aren't ours. They're God's, they belong to God. And when we leave it at his feet and trust him and say, "You know what, God, not my will, but your will. Whatever it is that you want to do with my money or my car or my house or my dreams, it's yours to do with as you wish because you're the owner anyway." It brings relief to us. Because all of a sudden, we're not responsible for the outcome. We're not responsible for caring about making sure everything works out okay, or making sure we have enough money, or making sure our dreams happen, or making sure we're really happy. It's not about any of that, right? It's about us just resting in whatever God's plan is for us. And so we take ourselves out of the ownership role and put ourselves into the stewardship role. We're just managers. We're just managers of what God has given us. How are we going to manage? In my job, I am a manager. I manage people. I manage work. I'm responsible for making sure that whatever my boss wants, whatever our organization wants, whatever priority they have is also my priority, I don't make the priorities. I don't make the decisions about which direction we should go in. My responsibility is to understand their priorities and make sure that I do what I can to honor those priorities. It's the same with us. We don't own our lives, we just manage our lives. So we have to understand our King's priority for us. What are the kingdom priorities? And how do we flesh that out and be good stewards of the resources God has given us? I can tell you one thing, you getting that promotion is not a kingdom priority. You getting that new car is not a kingdom priority. You getting, even our relationships, right? We want to control our relationships. We want to fix people. But that's not our job. Our job is not to fix people. Our job is not to change hearts. Our job is not to make sure that things turn out okay in the end. Our job is just to manage the resources that we have been given for today. But understanding what our priorities are, understanding what the priorities of the owner, of the King are. And that's what Jesus says that's what he means when he says you have to give up your own way and you have to take up your cross. What is the cross? The cross is a representative of surrender, of dying to self. The cross is a symbol of death. And so we have to die to what we want and follow Jesus. And Jesus goes on, he says, what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? I mean, let's just take a step back and really understand what Jesus is looking at here. Jesus isn't concerned with the temporal stuff around us, right? That's not his end game. I mean, yes, he's concerned, and yes, he moves in our circumstances around us, but his end goal, the vision that he has for us is never here and now. It is always eternal. It is always the kingdom business. And so Jesus is saying, what does it matter if you gained control over all of the riches in the world and you gained control over all the power of the world? Maybe you became a worldwide king and everyone bowed down to you and you had all the authority and you had everything that you could ever want. What does that matter if in the end you sacrifice your own soul and you end up in hell? Great, you had a great 80 years here. It's a blip in the bucket in compared to eternity. And so Jesus is saying, what does that matter? Stop thinking about your life here on earth as the thing that is most important. Stop planning your life because this is all there is. That is so short-sighted. Jesus says there's a whole eternity out there. What are you doing to make a difference in that world? What are you doing to make a difference that's going to matter forever? For the Son of Man will come with all his angels in the glory of his Father and will judge all people according to their deeds. And I tell you the truth, Jesus said, some standing here right now will not die before they see the Son of Man coming in the kingdom. That is what it's all about, friend. So I just wanted to encourage you, stop clinging to what you have. It's not yours anyway. Make sure that you recognize it belongs to the owner and you are a steward. Stop clinging so you can start living. True happiness and true joy is in the surrender, the open-handedness of our dreams, of our finances, of our stuff, of our children, of our relationships. When we bring them to Jesus with open hands and say, here, you have them, you do as you please. Thy will be done. That's when the true joy comes, because We don't have anxiety anymore. We don't have fear anymore because it's not up to us to figure it out. So that's what I want to leave with you today. I also want to share with you something very exciting. I'm just finishing up a study on what God says about divorce. This is going to be groundbreaking for many of you. It was groundbreaking for me. And so look for that in the coming weeks, because God has set a burden upon my heart to get this truth out there. So that's going to be coming. Until then, friend, go with God.